What is up, world? You are in tune to the Know It All podcast in the segment called Mods Moments. Look, man, I just made an observation. The Golden State Warriors have just won the NBA championship. And it just came to me that they come from championship pedigree, right? Not only has Steph Curry and the core and the nucleus been together and they've won, three other championships. Definitely they're cut from championship pedigree. Let me explain. When it comes down to it, it's Father's Day weekend, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, all of the people who stand in the gap for fathers, all of the people who've become surrogate fathers, all of the stepfathers. I salute you. It is not an easy thing to be a father. So thank you for all that you do. But look, Dell Curry was a 6'4" shooting guard from Virginia Tech, played for the Charlotte Hornets the majority of his career. He was a journeyman, but he played for Charlotte the majority of the career. He averaged 11.7 points per game. He played, like I said, for four other teams, but he was still there playing an active part in his son's life. And of course, we know who his son is. His son is now an all-time great. He himself was the NBA Sixth Man of the Year in 1994, and he had a smooth jumper, as you can see. He definitely got busy. But, we know his son, Stephen Curry, is one of the greatest shooters of all time, if not the greatest shooter of all time. I mean, definitely he's making his case to be the greatest shooter of all time. And as my friend Ray Jackson said, he got every little man in the world thinking that they could play basketball and hit a half-court jump shot. Listen, it is what it is. I mean, definitely, I think it's great what Steph is doing for the game. But the thing that really stuck out here was his dad, right? Then you look and you have Mitchell Wiggins. Mitchell Wiggins played for several different teams in the NBA, notably the Houston Rockets during the Twin Towers era with Ralph Sampson and Akeem the Dream. He was a 6'4" shooting guard. He averaged 10 points a game. But in Greece, he was the top scorer in 1994 and 96. Him and his wife had been married for years, and definitely his wife was a track athlete herself in Canada. Definitely they came together, had two great sons. Both of them had the opportunity to play college basketball. And, the son that we're talking about is Andrew Wiggins. So you have two players already that you could see who had NBA pedigree, and it came from their father, right? Then you have Michael Thompson. Michael Thompson was found on accident in the Nassau, Bahamas. Actually, the scout that was coming looking for another player came to Michael's house by mistake and begged Michael's dad, because he was 6'8" already. So he begged Michael's dad to come on and let him go to the States and play basketball, where he went on to play for the Minnesota Gophers and grew to 6'10". And when he grew to 6'10", he was the first pick in the draft, first foreign-born player to be picked first in the draft. He was a two-time NBA champion with the Lakers, all-rookie team in 1979, and he averaged 13.7 points per game in his career. This guy is the father of Klay Thompson, and he was heavily involved in his life, always there as he was growing up to point him in the right direction. Him and Klay and his younger brother, which, his younger brother's in the NBA or was in the NBA as well, right? So that's three fathers who had NBA pedigree. One right now that we're talking about who have an NBA championship. He actually has 2 rings, gave one of those rings to his father. The other one he still has, right? The last here that we're going to talk about is Gary Payton. Gary Payton, the glove, is what they called him. He was a 6'4" point guard. He played for several different teams in the NBA, but I'm going to tell you he's most known for playing with the Rain Man down there in Seattle. Definitely he is part of the NBA 75 team, which is crazy. He was an NBA 9-time All-Star, 2-time NBA All-First Team, 5-time NBA All-Second Team, 9-time NBA All-Defensive First Team, and was the Defensive Player of the Year in 1999. He was the steals leader in 1996. Man, he was cold. He was a pickpocket. If you sat down in front of him, he was going to take the ball in front of you, man. It just was what it was, and when you heard him yell cookies, he was on the other side of the court. That's what that was. He was the three-point champion in 1996 as well. He averaged 16.3 points per game and 6 assists. He is also the father of Gary Payton Jr. or Gary Payton II. And if you look at it, there's this theme that's going on. This team was put together by Steve Kerr, who was the champion himself. Steve Kerr has 5 rings that he won as a player. He has 4 now that he's won as a coach. So he has 9 rings championship pedigree. And I'm going to tell you that championship pedigree won out in these last 2 games that you saw against Boston. You saw Boston, who didn't have a champion on their squad, with someone with championship pedigree, someone who knew what it took to win, who knew what it took to get there. You saw a player like Andrew Wiggins, who had been criticized in the past by several NBA players, most notably Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Buckets was definitely talking about Andrew Wiggins and was, questioning his work ethic. But now you see Wiggins is a champion, man. I'm telling you, when you look at it, it's not just the game itself, getting out on the court. You got to have some championship pedigree and some championship DNA inside of you. But I wanted to point it out that I noticed that each one of these guys have fathers who were in the NBA, and not only just bench players or role players. They actually got in and got busy. You know what I'm saying? Mitchell Wiggins' dad really got busy. Like I said, he played with Akeem and the Dream, and I mean, he played with Akeem and Ralph Sampson during the Twin Towers era, and that's big. I mean, they played against Boston in the championship, so they went to the chip. He knows what it takes. You know what I'm saying? And Mitchell Wiggins said that his son ain't never beat him, and he ain't gonna never get a chance to beat him because he's not gonna play him. But at this point, that's a competitive household, man. So when you grow up in competitive households, you have that competitive drive and that fuel to win. But on a Father's Day weekend, I wanted to give you guys a Father's Day trend. I wanted you to be able to see the connection of fathers who were there in their sons' lives, even though they were NBA players and they were playing all over the U.S. They still had time to sit back, raise their children, and now you see the fruit of that with their kids being in the NBA. And not only that, their children, their sons are NBA champions. This is your boy Mod with another Mod's Moment. Make sure that you like and subscribe to Know It All Podcast. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on Twitch and YouTube, so that when we go live, you'll definitely get that bing and that notification that we're here. All right. And I just want to tell you guys, happy Father's Day weekend. Also, happy Juneteenth. It's your boy. I'm out.